Okay, so these are going to be the double coins that I'm taking off. Although honestly they've kind of held up pretty good. They got about 35,000 miles on them. Some edges are pretty worn down. You can see that this is the one that's on the turning side. So this is the one that takes the biggest brunt of everything. So this one's actually, you know, still has decent tread. I'd say it's like maybe 1/8 of an inch, maybe a shade more, especially in the middle. But some of these have fared much better. You can see that this one still has the siping in the middle and stuff, where this one's straight gone and this one is nearly straight gone. So anyway, held up pretty good. Now that's turning, that's the one in the middle. And I'm actually going to these. So I'm actually going to a Provider tire. That's a little bit different than the ones that I ran on my other trailer, but you can see siping all along the edge, which is going to be really helpful. And then there's actually siping inside each one of these that go all the way down to the base of the lug. Same thing here, same thing here. And this one goes pretty much all the way down. You can kind of see around the edge how far down it goes. So still pretty much a solid edge, but it gives it some ability to move. I really feel like this is going to do a lot better job in the snow. The double coins were horrible in the snow. Trailer straight slid. I had a couple situations. Now granted, I'm driving in the snow, but so these are going to be the Provider, and these ones are a F835, and still a 14 ply, still 110 psi tire. Really thick. I mean, these are thick. The sidewall seems to be a lot stiffer than the double coins. This is still like an Asian made tire. I think all these say made in Thailand, but the company, this company right here, which is Taskmaster, which there's a sticker on these, so let me find it. Okay, so this is Provider HD. And when it talks about this Duralock liner, I can tell you right now that I got tires that were on a trailer since 2014. I only ever checked the tire pressure in them like 3 times, and every single time, not a drop was missing. But 14 ply, total outer diameter, you know, single plier load rating, which is about 200 pounds more than the double coins, that kind of thing. Okay, so it's this Taskmaster components. I mean, you can buy them anywhere. I bought them directly from them, but I don't think they normally do that. I think it was just because of the sheer quantity of tires I was buying. But I had an enclosed trailer mount. Now my enclosed trailer had a 10 ply, no, not a 10 ply. I think it was a D. They were load range D tires. And anyway, I guess what I'm getting at is that they were a Taskmaster Provider tire, has a different tread pattern and stuff like that. But I had over 50,000 miles on those tires, and they held up fantastic. I mean, I hardly ever had to check the air pressure on them. Every single time I checked it, they were always, I think they were supposed to be 65 PSI. They were always at 65 PSI. Never had any tire loss as far as air pressure. Tires always like wore really good, that kind of thing. We hauled it behind our motorhome, and like I said, we got about 50,000 miles on those tires. I changed them simply because of age. They were not dry rotted, they were not dry cracked. Like, they really didn't have any issues at all whatsoever with them, but I changed them anyway, simply just because of age, right? And so anyway, so these are going to be the ones off the ATC, and I'm going to get down on that. Now, I have kind of worked on cleaning my shop up a little bit, but I'm going to show you a little tour here, even though this is straight chaos right here. I haven't cleaned up completely, but I'm getting there. But this is my tire changer here. It's done an awesome job. I mean, absolutely awesome. This thing is no F's given about taking a tire off, even 14 ply. I mean, it just does not care. And this is that toolless head, absolutely awesome. This is the balancer that I've been using. It's a Force Match HD by Hunter Engineering. So it's got a lift on it. I did put this collet on here because I need this bigger piece here. This is kind of the small one compared to what goes on here. And this big girl right here, that's going to be the one for the F450, and then I'll be using that with the pins and stuff like that. So it's got these pins right here, which you can't really see, but I'll be putting these pins in, and then it's held on there with I got weights everywhere, man. Let me tell you, it's really been a task. So anyway, so these go onto that plate. They hold them on to this plate right here. So that collet goes on there, and then that plate with the pins goes on. And then it actually goes in behind these holes, from what I understand. This is bolted to the unit itself. You can see it bolted here. The bolts that came with it, which I think were these right here, these are metric. And this is 3/8/16, so they didn't line up or anything like that. What's really weird is, like, because they're metric, they were real tight in this piece, but in this piece they wouldn't even thread in. But the 3/8/16 was a little loose in here, but it tightened up here, and it's tight. So I'm pretty happy with that. Of course, if I take that off, see. Okay. And then what I've been using is this does either 4 or 8, and I've been using that on my trailer tires. Seems to work freaking awesome. So like I said, I haven't really done a full-on review of these, but these are an MT RSR speed plate. Oh, let's see here. There we go, speed plate. And so this one is for like either 4 or 8 lug. And then this balancer right here has like 5 and 6 on it, and then all the other collets and that kind of stuff. This is another road force balancer. It says GSP 9700, but this is actually a GSP 9720. And this bad boy is awesome. So I mean, I actually feel like these balancers are absolutely fantastic. I do have some lead weights because this is Idaho and screw you. And then we have the steel weights that I bought. And then all of this is the sticky weights. So I have silver, which I'll be putting on my 450. And then I have the black, which is kind of what I've been putting on my ATC stuff so that you can't see them. Some of the weird things about this, now I'm going to kind of get off on a tangent here a little bit. So this is supposed to be like a P weight. See how tight that is? So this is supposed to be a P weight. I'm telling you, that doesn't necessarily work out for P weights. This is supposed to be a P weight too. And but this one's straight lead. This is 2.5 ounces. Works way better than any of this shit. And then I have these other weights, and you can see the profile on those bad boys. This is supposed to be an MC weight, which is supposed to technically go on these rims, but what I've found out is that it's actually an AW weight that goes on there, and it's a similar profile, just bigger, right? See how that's bigger? Because the lip on that aluminum rim is massively bigger than the and these MC weights is what I assumed would go on those rims, but that was totally not the case. I think this is a zinc weight. It says 2 ounces. I physically weighed this. This doesn't even weigh 2 ounces, but this was an AW weight, and it was 2 ounces. And you can see the profile on that. These actually hammer on really nice, so I've had to break this out to actually put the weights on, because this thing is a useless turd. It takes them off, but it's useless to put them on. But anyway, so pretty awesome. And I'm going to cut this video short. I do have the semi thing there, but I won't be doing that for quite a while. But anyway, working awesome. And I will try to somehow coordinate, like putting the tire, or like taking the tire off, putting the tire on, and balancing it, so you guys can see how that goes. But shy of that, I'm going to go ahead and put my paste back on because it's I got a visit with my cat. She is assumed her position there, and we're watching a show here. So she's assumed her position, and if I don't go over there, then I get the stink eye for like 2 days. So all right, you guys take care. Oh, I'm gonna zoom back out. There we go. Sorry about that. This is the air compressor that I put in. I put a 3-stage dryer in for everything, and then I ran air and electric for everything there. So it's 220 electric, and then I ran my air there, which supplies pretty much everything, and I've been pretty happy with that. So, because these machines are all 220, so you can see right there that I did that too. So this is my other shop, so I'm pretty happy about that. It seems to work pretty good. Now I did buy a bunch of valve stems kind of marked out exactly what they are. So this is going to be, so I'm telling you, man, this has been quite the learning process. So this is a 0.453 diameter that's inside here. This is a all solid core, high pressure valve stem. So this is what I put on my 15-inch trailer tires. And then I had a friend that I'd sold my old ATC tires to. His actually took this 0.625 high pressure valve stem. I actually didn't use these. I'd bought them to put in there, but these showed up about a day after these bad boys. And so I put a all metal valve stem in his, and I think that he'll be better off because it's a horse trailer anyway. So, and then these are valve cores. They seem to be working pretty good. And then these are just little rubbers. You know, this one is 0.88. This one is 125. And then this one is 1.50, but they all have that same like 453. So this is going to be like most passenger cars that are like older than the TPMS crap. And you can kind of see in there, it's still a solid core inside. So I was kind of particular about that. And then I have TPMSs here for our Lincoln. And because I broke one, so I bought some extras. I did have an issue though with those. I ordered one, I put it in her car when I changed out the tires, and that one seemed to work perfectly. The car recognized it immediately, there was no issues. And then we had one of the tires that was kind of losing air pressure, and what had happened is, now it was the original one, right? But it had a little like slit in this one back edge right here where it seats against the rim. And every time you'd move this stem, it would leak a little air. It only leaked air at like 80, 85 miles an hour. But outside of that, like it didn't have any issues. Like if you drove like 60, 65, it was totally fine. It never leaked a drop. And then once you got at a higher speed, then it kind of messed everything up. So I went ahead and changed the valve stem and tried to put basically a whole new TPMS and everything in it. I couldn't get it to read. There's two different ways you can make your Lincoln like reprogram those things. One of them is you set like a certain sequence and then the horn honks, and then you go along with this thing and you hit the button, and this is supposed to send some kind of signal to it to tell it to turn on something. I don't know, don't care. I'm assuming that that's how that's supposed to work. It didn't work at all. So I ended up breaking the tire back down again, and I put the old sensor back on the new valve. Perfect. Not a single hiccup. So I tried that thing, and I also tried the other way where you reduce the tire pressure in the tire, and then the sensor kind of activates that way too. So there's two different ways you can do it. I tried both. Neither one worked worth a shit. So I went ahead and put the old sensor on. Didn't miss a beat, and now that tire has not lost a single pound of pressure going down the freeway at like 100. So this is that little tire cannon I bought. I haven't used it or anything like that. So, you know, I guess there will be a day. This is my neon table. I've not really gotten into this or anything like that, but this is like a hobby for me. There's stuff sitting here. Don't worry about that. But this right here is a 60,000 volt transformer. And then right over here, I have a reactor that I've built. And a lot of people would use like some kind of a choke, right? So what I built was a saturatable reactor. And so that saturatable reactor right there basically gives you the ability to run a high intensity pot, which is here, with a little rheostat on it, which is designed for high voltage. Not high amperage, just high voltage. And then you can kind of bombard that with that. And then you kind of set it up in this manifold. And I've got it kind of covered up here. But you'll set your glass on here, like your design. Like let's use some of these letters, right? Or this Pepsi sign or something. So you'll bombard that here. You can measure your temperature. You can also measure the amount of microns that you're actually pulling down, because you'll pull this down into vacuum. And a lot of times your goal here is you're going to be somewhere, you know, way past 20. If you can get it into the 30 range or whatever, you're really pumping the junk right out of that glass. And then you hit it with a shit ton of electricity, and it kind of cooks all the impurities out of the glass. And then when you're done, you kind of tip it off. If you're going to run, like, let's see, this one is neon, and I think that, anyway, I can't remember what, I think this one right here, it says components is argon neon. Typically that right there is going to be neon. This one's going to be argon. This is the blue light with mercury. And when you put neon gas in there, it's strictly like a red light. So anyway, not that I need to get into this. This is kind of a cool little process too. But anyway, long story short, yeah, I kind of got off on a little tangent there. But that's what this crap is, in case you guys ever want to know. But I'm pretty happy with the equipment here. It's absolutely kicking butt. This Hunter stuff is freaking awesome. And I really like the extra arms. I've used the snot out of those. But, and this is all my neon glass over here. It's all leaded glass. So whenever I build stuff, it lasts forever. Anyway, all right, well, you guys take care. This one's getting a little long. If there's anything that you guys happen to like in the video that you kind of want to like maybe watch more of, or you're interested in what it is or how it works or something like that, comment, like, subscribe, kind of tell your friends about it if you care. If you don't, I'm good with that too. I think it's kind of a cool thing. Anyway, you guys have an awesome day, and I'll talk to you later.